How are you? I will be very brief. Last thing you need to hear about is a banker talking. But I had the privilege of serving on Chairman Warren Faruqi's task force for construction that met for over about a 3-month period. And as the Mayor pointed out, this is the #1 project that we endorse as an independent body, primarily because, as has been said many times, this project's ready to go relative to anything else that we could find. And 10,000 jobs is a serious number of people that we can employ over the construction cycle. The second privilege I had was to chair a task force for the Business Roundtable. About a year ago, we were asked to go and kind of tear the numbers apart. And as the mayor said, we very much independently looked at this. And our final conclusion was, one, is the GET numbers were indeed well overstated. The revenue side was inflated. We worked with the city and basically adjusted those what we thought were more realistic. And the numbers that he's talking about, the 99.5, is the new numbers that were projected to lower those numbers down. So those numbers have been adjusted. And indeed, those numbers have been holding fairly firm. But so once we dropped those numbers down, we looked obviously at the cost side. So we start with the revenue. And what we found on the cost side was surprising. Frankly, the cost side we felt were very much overstated. What we found was that this was done 3 years ago during the boom, during the construction cycle. And clearly our expectation was that these numbers, the construction costs, were so inflated so aggressively that we felt the numbers were probably a bit overstated. And indeed, what happened with the first bid, which is we just talk about these numbers, are staggering sizes. But this first bid was a $570 million first phase bid was what was in the budget. The budget came in over 15, to be exact, about 16% less than that, which is a $90 million savings by Kiewit, which we were expecting around a 10% savings relative to our readjusted numbers. So that was a 50% reduction what we expected the numbers to balance. We also found, when you look at a $5 billion project, it sounds pretty scary, but 1.3 billion of that is contingency, which if you're building a house and you have for $500,000 and you've already got $130,000 in contingency savings, as a construction lender for 30 plus years, I've never seen that before, that large of a contingency. So that was very comforting to us in looking at the numbers. Then lastly, when we looked at numbers, in that assumption, we budgeted a $900 million revenue source coming in from the federal government. So this latest number of having a $650 million increase in the revenue from outside relative to the $900 million we were assuming to get, which frankly, at that point, a lot of people were questioning whether that $900 million is realistic or not. Now to raise that number to $1.55 billion significantly improves the realistic nature of this project. So I think in summary, I think what's also missing in this dialogue is this project is being amortized. In other words, it isn't that we're going to spend $5 billion and then have that $5 billion in debt in perpetuity and just continue to kind of add to it. The way the numbers work is it's like a mortgage that we're borrowing the money, so to speak, and it's being amortized over 15 years. It'll be 15 and a half years to be exact. So it's really within the way the project works, given all the numbers I just gave you, the project's supposed to have been extinguished within 15 years. I mean, the city and county would have no debt on the rail at the end of 15 years. Based on our analysis, we finished it all, taking some pretty conservative assumptions, we felt the worst case we'd have to extend the 0.5 GT 2 years in order to make the money balance with the lower revenue numbers, the lower expense numbers, not counting the fact that the savings are actually more than we anticipated and the revenue from the federal government is more than we anticipate. So I would expect at this point that those numbers are probably close back to that 15, maybe even less year amortization. I would like to add, though, a caveat that the Business Roundtable felt strongly about. We can't leave here without saying this. We felt strongly that we still need a transit authority to govern this project. That overall, this project should be run like a business, not to be subject to the political vagaries that we're going to have during the construction phase and more importantly during the operational phase. Most of those cities we're talking about have a transit authority. to govern it from a business perspective, to bring the bus and the rail all into one alignment, to basically have one transit authority. That was our other recommendation. I would close by saying that what business looked at was frankly the quality of life issue, as was pointed out by the mayor. This is really a significant change in the way we go about business. To link the west side with the jobs and the hospitals and the private schools and the physical therapists, the doctors, etc., is a significant change for us. That this is really simply a 20-mile highway. It's a people mover highway. It's not as a big a deal and as exciting as it, and new technology as much as it's just a place where every 3 minutes you'll be able to step on this train and get from point A to point B. That is a major way of changing the way we do business. So for my employees at First Hawaiian Bank to come downtown in 30 minutes as opposed to 2 hours on the freeway, that's a quality of life change that we felt is significant. And it'll also put people, I think, out of their cars a lot more than at grade. I won't spend all the time on that grade, but there's really not a comparison between those two. It's just a question of aesthetics at the end of the day. Or some people just don't want the rail to happen. I can tell you from a business perspective, the voters have spoken, the legislature has spoken, the congressional delegation has spoken, the newspapers have actually spoken in favor. The business and the labor community have spoken. Let's get this damn thing built. Aloha.